Hey there, it's Mitzi. Welcome to my channel. Today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about reading through the Bible in 90 days. Now, I have already posted a video at some point about how I wanted to read a new translation of the Bible. I've always read the New King James Version. That's what I've read ever since I graduated from high school, because I received a Bible for my high school graduation, which was a New King James, and I loved it. And I use that forever, and I still use it. But I also have many other translations that I use in my Bible study. Maybe I'm studying a certain topic or a particular book of the Bible. I'll pull out other translations too. But on my day-to-day Bible reading that I do on the daily, it's the New King James. So last year, when I finished reading the Bible, and I think I finished last year around September or so. I always start fresh in January. I don't know why. I'm one of these people that likes to start fresh in January. But I think it was about September I finished reading through it. And I was like, I need to try one of these other versions. These other translations. So I thought, I've got all these on my shelf. I need to read through the entire thing in one of these other translations. So I thought that the 90-day would be a perfect way to do that. That's why I tried this 90-day, read the Bible in 90 days. It was not for a deep dive Bible study. It was just to get my feet wet in another translation. So that was the purpose for me. I don't know what your purpose would be. Everybody's different about how they read their Bible. But for me, again, it was not to deep dive into the Bible. It was just to, now that I have so many years of reading through the Bible in New King James, another way of reading it. So I decided to pick up the Story of Redemption Bible, which my son had given me, which was the English Standard Version. And I had, I use it a lot anyway in my Bible study, and I thought this would be a good one to read through because it is just what it said. It's a standard English version. So it is in more of a modern English day language. So I thought that one would be a good one if I wanted to read it in 90 days. So that's what I did. And so today I just want to talk about what I liked about it, what I didn't, and all those kind of things. The thing that I enjoyed about it was a great overview of the Bible. It was a great way to look at the Bible as just a whole piece of work. You've got all these books and they're all contained in this one book, but they're all God's Word. And so they all have the same story, the same message going through them all. So reading it in 90 days, you start in Genesis, because I did read it, Genesis all the way to Revelation in that order. When you read it that way and you get to Revelation, by the time I got to Revelation, I was still remembering what I'd read in Leviticus or whatever, because it wasn't that long ago. It didn't take me that long to get there. So to see a broad overview of what the Bible is saying and the message of the Bible, this is a great way to do that. Another reason I enjoyed it was because it was a great way for me to see how much I would enjoy reading the ESV, the English Standard Version, because again, I've always read mainly the New King James Version in my Bible reading, and I loved it. I really love the English Standard Version. I think I'm going to pick me up another Bible in the English Standard, because the one I have, the Story of Redemption, has a lot of extra things in it, and so it's very thick. It's not one that's super handy to carry to church with me. But I am going to pick me up another English Standard Version because I really liked this translation. So that was a good thing that came from it too, to see the differences in the English Standard Version, compared to my normal go-to, the New King James. So I love that about it as well. The thing though that was not so great about it was I did feel rushed because, I'm a person, I want to get things done. I do like to complete things. And so every morning I would get up and I'd read those passages, and some of them were a lot more time consuming. Some days it would be 30 minutes. Another day might be 45 to an hour. And so I always spend 1 hour reading the Bible in the morning. But usually when I mean I'm reading the Bible in the morning, I read a passage, I pray, I take notes, I ponder, I might look at another passage, you know. So this was not that kind of reading. So it felt rushed for me, and I was uncomfortable with that part of it. However, I had to keep in mind, I'm not reading it for that reason right now. This is not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to read through the whole thing and get this done and then think about it. So I had to kind of keep that in mind. But I did feel rushed on some days because some of the passages would be really a lot to read, or the passage might not seem like that many chapters, but the information within those certain chapters was a lot of information. And so, you know, you just can't absorb all of that. That's just impossible for all of us. So that part was kind of a little on the frustrating side for me. And I just had to keep in mind that, hey, I'm just reading through it as an overview, and then I can go back to those parts later. So that's how I approached it. The other thing that I found to be, well, let me tell you another thing that I did think was a benefit to the ESV. Because the ESV is a more modern language for us, the English Standard, that's why it's called that. It was easier to do this 90-day challenge, I think, in that translation. I think the King James might be a little harder to read this in the 90 days because, you know, the these and thous and all are in there. It's the way that they spoke then is a little different. And it's just like when you read classic literature and you have to kind of get used to the language and you can't read that as fast. So reading it in the ESV, I do offer that as a tip maybe, that if you want to try this, use a more modern translation that would be a little easier to absorb as you are reading this in 90 days. Anyway, that's just a little tip. So that was something else that I did find made it easier to read it in 90 days. The only thing that another thing that I found that was frustrating was as I was reading, I was good with it and I was going along well, you know, at the beginning, but about halfway through, I started getting a little antsy. And it was because I normally spend that first hour, like I say, in Bible study where I am really digging deep, you know, and reading passages and studying. And I wasn't doing that because I was taking that hour instead. I'm just being completely honest with you. This is what happened. I wasn't doing that like I normally do because I was trying to get this read. And I was substituting my normal digging deep for just getting it read. So by the middle, I started feeling a little frustrated with myself because it was like, okay, I need to be taking some time at some point during the day to actually just go back and look at some of these passages. And because of the way my day's set up, you know how it is, that didn't happen. I would get on doing other things during the day and I wouldn't go back to it. So, you know, again, this is not for Bible study. This is just to read through as an overview. So the point I want to make from this, I know I'm rambling, but the point I want to make from this is I did enjoy it. I did love reading through the English Standard Version, and I have found a new favorite translation. I think that's going to be one that I'm actually excited that now I have this new English Standard Version translation that I've read through. Now I want to go through and look at books that I've read that I've really, you know, studied a lot deeper in the New King James. Now I want to look at it from the English Standard Version. I think that would be fun. So it's kind of energized my Bible study. So that was a positive that came from this. Reading the English Standard Version, you know, all the way through, and now I can go back and really dig deeper into different books and topics from the Bible using the English Standard Version. So that really was something that energized my Bible study. Also going through and halfway through feeling like, ooh, I really need to be digging deeper into some of this. Again, that energized my Bible study. So I don't think it was a bad thing to do. I think for me personally, it was a fun challenge, and I'm glad that I can say, now this is not anything spiritual, this is just human. I'm glad I can say, hey, I read it in 90 days. That was fun. In 88 days, to be exact. So that part's fun, to be able to say you started your year off, starting in January, you finished in March, reading through the entire Bible. You know, that was that's not a bad thing. So I'm glad that I did that. I'm glad that I read it in the English Standard Version. And I do think I might try to do it again. Not anytime soon, but later, maybe reading through another translation and see how it feels compared to this one. So that's my experience reading through the Bible in less than 90 days. Again, I did enjoy it. I thought it was a lot of fun to try this challenge. To read through a new translation was fun. Have you tried anything like this? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.